Welcome to a podcast by opentheword.org, where we discuss a bit of Bible, a bit of life, and a bit of politics.
Hi, my name's Johnston, and in this podcast, I want to share what happened a couple of weeks ago at a men's fellowship meeting. Normally, it's not my thing to get up on a Saturday morning early and get together with others, but there's something about this community fellowship where I live I really like. And it's because there's a number of brothers who come from different churches, all with the same purpose. What does God want to do in our town and in our own lives? And how can we accommodate that? So the other week, we had a couple of new brothers from a Baptist church, and all was friendly and great. And as soon as the leader opened in prayer, I got this vision from God. Very brief, but I shared it after he opened in prayer. And what it was is I saw from a bird's eye view, two boxcars being coupled together. The couplers on a boxcar on a train are massive, big, fist-like structures. And when they click into one another, they hold those boxcars firmly together. And I don't always deliberately come to a church meeting or anything like that with a word or a vision beforehand, but often what happens is I'll come and I'll get it just as we're going to start up. And what I try to do before God is, because I have a prophetic gift, I try to present it to the Lord and just be open that when I'm in a circumstance like that God can tap me on the shoulder and give me something to encourage others. So with this vision, I saw these boxcars being coupled together. I quickly shared it, and it was like God joining us together from different churches, these boxcars. And it may seem obvious to one and all, but an engine by itself is not a train. And an engine by itself doesn't usually run down the tracks. Most trains are a mixture of different types of boxcars, flat cars, car carriers, hoppers, tankers. There may be specialized cars as well. They all have two things in common. They all have the same exact couplers to join the train, and they all have the same air hoses to join to each other. When a boxcar is by itself on a siding, how the brakes on a train work as I understand them, the brakes are on automatically. In fact, even if it's on a bit of a hill, the brakes are on. And that boxcar may be sitting on a siding full of wonderful gifts for somebody, but it won't move until it's hooked up to a train and those air hoses are hooked up to the boxcar, because it's the compressor from the engine that sends air all the way down to the end of the train through those air hoses. And it's that air that opens the brakes to allow the train to move. And sometimes if we're not hooked up the way we should be with God's train, we may not be going too far, too fast. No breath from the engine, no life, no go. At times our Heavenly Father hooks us up with some interesting characters. I may think I'm exceptional and that I'm special and that I should have a place right behind the engine in front of everybody else because of my wonderful gifts. But I may be on a long train right at the end with live pigs in front of me and a hopper car full of rusted scrap iron behind me. That may be my place for a while. And if that train is going to fulfill its mission, its mandate, I must be hooked up to others. And sometimes God hooks us up to those beside and in front and back that we may not choose for ourselves, but it's not the boxcar's decision. At times, trains are made up of cars from even different denominations, different railways. And sometimes you'll see a train with engines and with cars from several different companies all working together. And often, you hear the thing that from the world's point of view, that you churches, you're so divided and you're always fighting and you never do anything. You know, my experience is no, that with this men's thing, like I said, that's not my experience necessarily. And I see God bringing people together with different gifts for the purpose that that train is going to go down the track and fulfill its mandate. In Ephesians 4:16, familiar verse, from whom the whole body, joined and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love. The Greek word used here for joined means to render close, jointed together, or be fitly framed together. You know, at the end of the meeting, we were all joking and coming up with the fact that, hey, we got a new secret handshake for our men's thing. We're all going to come up to each other and join our hands like train couplers. And we joked about that. But you know, at the end of the meeting, an older, dignified gentleman who was apparently a retired teacher, and he was a Baptist brother. It was his first time there. And at the end of the meeting, this brother looked at me and he thanked me for the encouraging word. All aboard. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks again for joining us on our podcast. Please check out our website at opentheword.org. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to receive notifications of future broadcasts. As well, please take a moment to provide a rating and even a review. Thanks again for listening.